It turns out this noise isn't Bandicam interacting poorly. It's debug info. There's currently 38 total achievements in 3 general categories, which are progress milestones, build a large base or run it long enough, and doing weird stuff. Note that these are my own categories. They're not so identified in the game, which has a bucket of 38 all 38 achievements. But I think the categories help think about the achievements, plan how to accomplish them, and of course, talk about them, as I'm doing now. While working on this video, I've been trying to complete There Is No Spoon, that is, winning the game in under 8 hours. It's tough. Meanwhile, I easily completed 2 others, Run Forest Run and Steamrolled. More on those later. Mods disable achievements, so many of the fun random online games don't allow you to get these. Likewise, if the admin ran a console command, achievements and achievement progress will be disabled. I have, nonetheless, gotten some of the Megacity production achievements just by being on a giant online server that had been running for days. That is a game that's run for 50 hours or 100 hours or more. I haven't built mega bases myself, so 4 of those time milestones I still haven't completed. But it's an incentive, now that I look at it, to build a mega base. When you're in-game, you can click on the Achievements button at the top right, select an achievement, and track it. This way you'll know how much time you have left in time-based achievements, how many manual crafts left for the Lazy Bastard achievement, or how many units you've produced or are producing when chasing after the production throughput achievements. If the game mode you're in doesn't support the achievement, you'll see a note to that effect. For example, the Win the Game in 8 hours achievement can't be done in peaceful mode, and that's exactly what it says. The tracking icon, by the way, is a little magnet that you can see on the achievement, and that's the thing that you need to click. Alright, so first group, the milestone achievements. They're all pretty straightforward. There's just 6 of them. 1 requires you to research oil processing. That's it. Just have research built and queue up oil processing and have it finish. No big deal. Building a locomotive is probably something else you've done. Building means both crafting the loco by hand or via an assembler and then placing it on tracks. You don't need any wagons, signals, or stops, just tracks and a loco. Triggering an attack via pollution, I'm sure, is something you've already done. You can't get this achievement on peaceful, and about an hour of play on non-peaceful will probably get you this achievement. I actually think it's the first achievement I ever got in game. I got 12 achievements in the first couple days. And if the timestamps are correct, this was indeed number 1. Supplying yourself via logistics does require a lot of research, specifically into logistics, which requires both yellow and purple science. Once you've researched it, built a logistics bot, and ever put something into your logistics request slot, bam, Chivo granted. And the final milestone achievement is winning the game, that is, launching a rocket, which means researching all the way through yellow and purple science, researching the rocket silo tech, building the silo, and loading it up with 100 set of components, building the satellite, and finally hitting the launch button. It's a biggie. Even bigger than that is the next achievement, Tech Maniac, which technically happens after you win the game because it requires researching all technologies, including those that require the space research kits that you get from launching a rocket. I haven't gotten this achievement, again, since I don't build megabases, so I'm not entirely sure how to do it. Some of the technologies have multiple tiers, and I think they go on practically forever, so I think this achievement doesn't require you to advance too far down those tiers, just to hit every kind of research that there is. This means that the 2 that come after you've launched a rocket, which are artillery shell speed and range, you need to research, but just the first level. So the second category of achievements is the weird stuff. And it's not all necessarily that weird. Some of them you might get without trying too hard. For example, winning without laser turrets is viable. A lot of times I just don't research laser turrets and especially if you've got good ammo distribution set up. There's not really a strong incentive to go straight to laser turrets. Likewise, active provider and requester chests are opened by very high research, itself close to the point where you'd be launching a rocket anyway. Winning without building solar panels is also doable, as Steam is easy enough to set up. Solar takes a huge amount of space, and unless you're trying to seriously reduce pollution, it's not that hard to win a game without building solar panels. Some of the weird things I haven't done just because that's not the way I play, although 2 of these I completed because I thought I was writing this and thought it'd be easy enough to do. As you can see, it's pretty easy to run over 100 trees, and as long as you haven't let the biters evolve too much, you can take out spawners with the tank too. The thing is, trees block pollution, and they can be used to craft power poles, so I tend to cut them down rather than burn them. Likewise, I don't often use tanks or cars, as it's pretty hard to make effective use of a car. Burning 10k trees takes dedication to using a flamethrower and repeatedly using it in multiple games. Which brings up an important point. You don't have to burn 10,000 trees in one game. It's 10,000 cumulative over however long you play. Definitely doable. As you can see, running over trees is easy with a tank, as is killing spawners by impact. I do not recommend trying these with a car. Although possible, it can be quite a challenge. Late game, spawners tend to be in large groups, so being able to kill one without getting yourself killed is tough. Finally, I don't often use combat robots, so having 100 of them following me would be something I'd have to focus on, and it's just something I haven't done yet. Some of the weird achievements are real skill testers. Finishing the game within 15 hours isn't that bad, but you need to focus on it, and once you've done it, obviously you'll have learned a lot about the game. Doing it in under 8 hours requires hard work and planning. Winning, by the way, means launching a rocket, and that's pretty hefty tech. Building a loco, which means constructing one and then placing it on tracks, is definitely easy enough to do in 90 minutes if you push straight for it tech-wise. The hard part of that, and a number of the challenge achievements, is the amount of research required. To get the research done that quickly, you need a lot of research labs, plus the mining, smelting, and manufacturing to support it. I had 14 labs when I got the loco achievement, which I completed comfortably in 80 minutes. I had something like 30 electric mining drills on iron, mostly to ensure I had the steel throughput to build the 20 engines needed to build a loco. Winning the game while manually crafting 111 items or less is pretty tough, especially since they tweaked recipes. You no longer have 10 spare items, it's down to 5, I think. Anyway, I'm going to look at that achievement by itself in another video, which I'll link here when I get to it. Because you have to wait for machines to do everything and requires a lot of patience, so it's a bit of a Zen achievement. Surviving a hit of 500 damage means you need shields. The player has 100 base hit points, and each tier 1 shield adds another 100 points of shield, and a Mark II shield adds 300. To survive a 500 damage hit, you need 5 shields, or 2 Mark II shields. The other tricky part is how to take that much damage, as even in the late game, most biters don't do that much damage in one shot. Sure, mobs of biters can kill you quickly, but you need to take 500 damage in one hit. The easiest way to do that is to set up a train loop long enough so that the engine reaches top speed, throw some wagons on it so that it's heavy enough to do serious damage, and keep standing in the way, and sooner or later you'll take a hit of 500 and get the achievement, or at least you'll get the achievo for being killed by a locomotive. Sadly, I was killed many times by a locomotive before this achievement was added, as well as on modded servers since then, but not yet in a non-modded, non-admin game. Constructing more machines by robot than manually is definitely a late game thing, as you'll need to research construction robots just to get the achievement, and then you'll want some blueprints to have something for the robots to construct. Note if you mesh this achievement with the Lazy Bastard achievement, where you try to win without handcrafting that much stuff, then it'll be easier to get this achievement.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
So long and thanks for all the fish is a weird achievement, as it doesn't even have a description. It's actually for launching a rocket with a fish as a payload rather than a satellite. Hence, you gotta do everything that it takes to win the game, but then put a fish in there instead. So that was the fun stuff. Now I'm gonna look at the last group, the third group, which are time-based achievements. There's 18 of these suckers. And I'm going to divide them roughly into 5 groups. Those groups are iron production, green chips, red chips, blue chips, and then miscellaneous. There's 17 of these suckers. First up, iron plate production. The 3 achievements here are for 20,000 plates produced per hour, 200K, and 400K. One stone furnace produces a plate in 3.5 seconds. Steel furnaces and electric furnaces both run at twice that speed, which is one plate in 1 3/4. To produce 20K per hour, you need 10 steel furnaces running for 60 minutes. 20K seems like a lot, but no, that's just under 20 stone furnaces. 200K per hour is, of course, 10 times that much. That's a big jump to 195 stone furnaces. That's a lot, right? Well, in a normal 4-belt setup, with each belt with 2 rows of 24 furnaces, you'll have 192 furnaces, which is about what you need here. The final achievement takes 195 steel furnaces, which, again, it sounds absurd, but again, is just a normal array. What you see here is 3 sets of 48 furnaces, about half of them steel. If I added a 4th set and upgraded all of the furnaces to steel, plus had a little bit more, and had all 200 plus furnaces 100% busy for an hour, that would be this achievement. You might be wondering why furnaces are built in sets of 24. The reason is that a full yellow, that is tier 1 belt of iron ore will feed 47 stone furnaces. If it's half full, that is iron ore on one side and coal on the other, then it will feed half that many furnaces, which is 24 steel furnaces. It's a handy and generally practical size. For more information for stuff like this, check out the Factorio cheat sheet, which I've got a screenshot here. I'm not affiliated with the site, I just think it's a great resource. The next achievement group is for electronic circuits, often called green chips. These achievements don't require throughput, they just require that you eventually produce enough. The cutoffs are 10K, 1 million, and 20 million. A fully stuffed Tier 2 assembly produces a chip in 2/3 of a second, that is 3 chips every 2 seconds. If you've got, say, 6 of these assemblers, that's 9 per second. In an hour, that's over 32,000, easily enough for the first tier achievement. Let's say you've got a dozen assemblers, which produces 18 per second. You need 15 hours to get the second level achievement, which is 1 million chips. At least this is cumulative, that is, the total that you've produced across many games. Mega factories will use Tier 3 assemblers, moduled out and with beacons, each producing 3 to 4 chips per second. A big array could easily produce over 100 per second. It'll take more than 50 hours on such a mega factory to hit the 20 million level, which, by the way, is an achievement I'm currently close to but I haven't yet achieved. Even trying is hard. You have to be in the game for over 50% of its playtime, so you can't just join someone else's mega factory that's already built. And if the admin uses a console command, you can't make progress on that map either. Life is hard. The third group of our third set, is red chips, aka advanced circuits. This achievement is throughput based like the iron plates. The levels are 1000, 10K, and 25K. Red chips have a craft time of 6 seconds, so that's 8 seconds in a blue assembler and 4.8 seconds in a yellow assembler. Times 3600, a blue assembler will churn out 450 red chips an hour if it's constantly fed and fully busy. So to hit the level 1 Chivo, you need 3 of them, and for them to be mostly busy, although not fully. Red chip assemblers are usually built in sets of 6, as 1 circuit assembler, 1 green chip assembler, and 1 plastic factory will fully feed 6 red chip assemblers. To hit 25K red chips per hour, you need 6 sets of 6 yellow assemblers, all fully fed and busy for an hour. Note that if you've got 4 productivity module 3 modules and a beacon with 2 speed 3 modules, a yellow assembler will have a craft speed of 1.125. Whatever. All these numbers. Point is, on a megacity with beacons, you need 26, which is 5 groups of red chip assemblers and fully busy in order to hit the 25K per hour threshold, which should be cake. If you've got blue belts and beacons, then your megacity will do it. All right, group 4. The computer age, blue chips. Again, like red chips and iron plates, these 3 achievements are based on throughput. You need a big factory to hit these numbers. The third number. And again, I haven't yet hit the top tier of this achievement. Blue chips have a craft time of 10 seconds, but they can be only made in a tier 2 or tier 3 assembler, never by hand. That means 13.3 seconds each, or 8 seconds in a tier 3. The achievement tiers are 500 per hour, 1K, and 5K. So hitting 500 per hour is just 0.13 per second, which 2 blue assemblers will do. So if you've got 2 of the blue assemblers cranking out blue chips and busy for a full hour, bam, you've got tier 1. 4 of the assemblers are required for the 1K achievement, and that's also very doable. But for computer age 3, you need 20 blues or 12 yellow assemblers, all fully busy making blue chips. The final group of achievements here is a set of 5 miscellaneous things, each requiring that you do some number of something. First up is constructing 100 machines using robots. Yeah, chances are if you've got a roboport, either personal or one on the ground, then using a blueprint will get you to 100 really quick, practically making this a milestone achievement. Yes, Factorio, I used robots to do construction. Next is deconstructing 100 objects via construction robots. If you've never used a deconstructor, then this is your chance to do so. It doesn't take much to do. If you've got power armor and a personal roboport, you can use the deconstructor to clear trees, a common task and an easy way to score this achievement. Third is applying 10K items via logistic robots. Again, you don't need to do this in one game. It's 10K over a lifetime of play. Eventually you'll get there, especially if you play solo games, although of course it has to be solo games with logistic robots. Next is having a train path 1,000 tiles or longer. One of the current favorite online games is a style called Railworld, which is one of the map generation options. If you're playing in such a world, chances are you'll create a long train path, and that's all you really need to have researched trains, got them built, and then built 2 stations with more than 1,000 tiles of track between them. I wouldn't chase this one, I'd just let it happen on a railroad. And for the last achievement, Solaris. Produce more than 10 gigajoules per hour using only solar panels. One solar panel outputs 60 kilowatts. A joule is 1 watt-second of power. That is 1 watt provided for 1 second. If you put down a solar panel, then 1 second later it's produced 60,000 joules. And the scientific prefixes are kilo for 1,000, mega for 1,000,000, and giga for 1,000,000,000. So if you need 1,000,000,000 watts, which I think is a milliard overseas, whatever you guys use. Anyway, 1,000,000,000 watts provided over an hour, 10 billion. 10 billion? Yeah, 10 billion. Without any steam engines or nuclear reactors, and that's the trick. Solar panels don't output continuously, only when the sun shines. So they have, I think they actually have a 66% duty cycle, which means in an hour, one panel outputs 60 kilowatts times 3,600 seconds times 2/3. So that's around 140 megajoules. So you need about 60, 70 panels. Seems that you need 2.8 megawatts continuous, and in-game that looks around like 66 panels. If your 10-minute view is showing 3 megawatts or more, that'll be sufficient. You just need, evidently, a full hour of solar panels, and you can't have any steam engines. If you switch to the 1 hour view in the electricity panel, you have to make sure that there's no line at all for steam engines in the 1 hour window. And of course, you're going to need accumulators to keep your base running overnight. And that's it, all 38 achievements. I am planning separate videos for 2 of these achievements. There is no spoon, which requires launching a satellite in under 8 hours, as well as Lazy Bastard, which requires launching a satellite while crafting less than 111 items manually. Are you interested in either one of those? Give a comment below and let me know. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope it helped you make some progress on achievements. Have fun.